I'm waiting just for the screen to appear. Perfect. Thank you. So I'm going to try and be as brief as possible with this also. It is a long part, but it's a very interesting one, and it complements very well what Martino just presented, which is what does it mean when you talk about partnerships with SDG 17? So this is a first slide to show you a solar system, if I can say, where decentralized cooperation is at the heart, is the sun making everything work. And where UCLG has identified actually already since 2016, a group of 7 key actors that all work typically on decentralized cooperation. And it shows the diversity of the different actors that are generally involved. So we can see as a first key actor, of course, is the local and national authorities. Both political and technical leaders are, of course, very important. Then the second part is national or international networks. And this is where we can, for instance, welcome UCLG, CLGF, but also national associations of local and regional governments and their networks, such as CMR. Specific platforms is also a key stakeholder group, and this is where we can also, for instance, consider PLATFORMA, a coalition of actors working together towards decentralized cooperation, and there are plenty of them across the world. Another actor is international organizations, and we're delighted, for instance, today to welcome our colleagues from UNDP and UN Habitat, but there are, of course, as well representatives from different UN branches and the European Union and other international institutions also that are very key to helping decentralized cooperation come to life. Then we will move on to local and international non-governmental organizations, so civil society, academia, civil society groups, NGOs are absolutely key to continue working together as well on decentralized cooperation. Sixth actor is the academia. So we all know, we've been discussing actually yesterday with the PLATFORMA colleagues on how to be more involved together with academia and with research and studies, and how to make sure that we also benefit from their knowledge that is very crucial to help our projects better evolve and grow. Another actor and a final actor for this graph is the private sector. And this we were talking about also already yesterday, how crucial it is to involve the private sector because they can be key to help unlock funding, but also access to different stakeholders and visibility and means tools to implement the projects that we have in mind. So all these actors are not all the time always involved, as we know, and we need to identify appropriate actors for each situation to reach out to. So on the next slide, this is a more, it builds on the slide that we were just presenting before, and it shows basically how partners come together in this solar system for decentralized cooperation and how they work together on specific SDGs. So it illustrates the power of decentralized cooperation at many levels and shows that the decentralized cooperation is a mechanism for localizing the goals. And it's actually only made possible through collaboration with local and regional governments. So they're at the heart of these little gray circles, as you can see. So stakeholder relationships between partners are very powerful. And this is somehow something that hopefully you can understand also with this graph. There are different layers of governance also between local and regional governments, their national associations, supported also by regional sections, for instance, from UCLG, and they help basically to liaise with national governments directly and with the international institutions. So there are networks of networks, as we can see, that are very key to help also bring forward messages, bring forward opportunities for project and cooperation. So really, you can see that decentralized cooperation is a space where other spheres, where other stakeholders are free to participate. And in many decentralized cooperation projects, organizations can act actually as trainers to support and provide additional support, operational support, linking local activities to the international process as well. So those are as well some of the roles that other stakeholders can play. So if we move to the next slide, this is where we're going to go more into detail on the 7 key actors that we were discussing before. So it's a mapping process, basically mobilizing different stakeholders, and we do this in our daily work. Actually, we are all very aware of these different actors, but it's good to remind ourselves what are their roles individually and then all together as well when we come to discuss decentralized cooperation linked with the 2030 agenda. So let's start with what is the most relevant to us, so the local and regional level. So we all know what local actors are responsible for, but we have to remind ourselves that they are really key in the context of implementing the 2030 agenda. They are key to actually ensure a strategic local approach that integrates all aspects of development. They are the closest link to the citizens also, and are key to help also liaise with different stakeholders, as we have seen in the previous graph, they're in the center. They localize global challenges in terms of SDGs. They use politically based frameworks, so they have political buy-in, which is crucial as well to move forward. They can influence national policy, which is also very strategic to help reinforce the 2030 agenda. They mobilize their own resources, even though those are very often limited. They can help draft integrated local plans that align with the SDGs, monitor them, report back to them. So we've seen the VLR movement and now soon to be the VSR movement, where local positioning is key and very welcomed also at UN level. And they help challenge local stakeholders as well, other stakeholders, like I mentioned. They connect the dots with the different sectors, different stakeholders across the territory. So when we move now to the role of national associations of local and regional governments, which we are also quite familiar with, they also have a key role. They help support the work that I have just described from the local and regional governments. They provide technical knowledge, capacities, they provide opportunities they indicate to local governments where opportunities for funding may exist. They help advocate actually for their rights, for local and regional governments' rights towards national institutions, also European institutions and international institutions. They help create the space to exchange good practices between the local and regional governments, to create this desire to learn and share constantly with each other in the spirit of partnership and in the spirit of SDG 17. So they are a crucial actor for this SDG actually. They foster relationships with sectoral ministries, promote better coordination, and are really best placed also to engage with other partners in other countries. So they help create this, they put into life the different modalities that we have seen and the flows yesterday between north and south and south and south and triangular, and all of that we've learned is all connected with what we're saying today. Moving to the national level, so they are of course very important as well for decentralized cooperation. They can provide a lot of support financially sometimes, as I gave the example yesterday of the country of Morocco. They can also provide data and research support, even though this is something that local governments are highly struggling with at the moment. Better cooperation with national governments can help unlock and find solutions to some of these issues. They help promote policies, mechanisms that can help exchange also technical resources. They provide top-down legislation, which sometimes is necessary to actually encourage change. In some countries, it's really because of the impetus that is being brought by the national government, by the prime minister, for instance, in Finland, that you can see all the other levels actually really on board and super active on the SDGs and working also in cooperation with other stakeholders. And yes, so basically they strengthen actions also and involve new actors together. Then we're moving to UCLG and its regional sections. So as I was talking about the networks of networks and umbrella networks, so the decentralized cooperation is really at the soul of the municipal movement. It's at the heart of what these networks of networks do. And I think this is something that Sarah Höflich likes to say very regularly in meetings as well. So those networks are key spaces to innovate and find new ways of learning, cooperating, safeguarding, providing support to the different stakeholders that we were mentioning before, maintaining the SDG agenda on the table, in the focus, and providing additional information also to different partners such as the international institutions, but also national governments and even civil society and private sector. So in the module, for those who have maybe had the time to read it, our consultants again went through a series of interviews also with secretary generals from all the different sections of UCLG to ask what they felt actually when it comes to promoting decentralized cooperation. What do they think their role is? And there was a unanimous agreement that decentralized cooperation is a key modality to contribute to the 2030 agenda. It's really important to help build the common language of the 2030 agenda, to help share its values and to help promote its goals further. So the Secretary Generals all agreed that their sections and their networks are key catalysts to help move forward for newer, more equal, empowering and diverse horizontal partnerships. And so they recognized also the roles played by non-state actors to help contribute to bring DC to life, notably through financial contributions. The international organizations, which is very key, of course, as well, they're the ones who helped bring the 2030 agenda to life from the very start. They helped formulate the 2030 agenda and the SDGs and the unique participatory process that is engaging and in calling all stakeholders to work together, which is something that is a very innovative tool compared to other key international agendas. I think this SDG 17 really stands out the most. It also voices and helps channels the voice of local governments through networks such as the Global Task Force and regional governments such as the such as, for instance, networks such as CMR or PLATFORMA, to really reflect local priorities at an international level and show what is happening on the ground also. So it follows the progress made by each country, now also follows progress made by local level through the VLR process, as I mentioned. And it helps to coordinate and support implementation of the global agendas in their respective territories, and helps also to unlock capacity building, sometimes funding initiatives also, and really binds everyone together. So when we move to the non-state actors, which is one of the last spheres, that there is this special kind of framework that we call, for instance, the quadruple helix. And I don't know who in this room knows what that is, but it's actually, it brings together innovation and development through joint action of the private sector, of academia, of public authorities, and of course, as well as citizens, which is a fourth key component. I know we've all heard a lot about triple helix, but quadruple helix has a citizen dimension, which is crucial. And it really serves as a motor for structural change. And so this is really an exciting model to apply to decentralized cooperation, especially if you pick a quadruple helix framework from one country and connect it with another, then you really find the spirit of SDG 17 coming to life as well. Then another non-state actor is, of course, the private sector. They're drivers of productivity, economic growth. They have lots of funding opportunities and increasing funding opportunities dedicated to sustainable development. The sustainability departments of the private sector are growing. They're also following the 2030 agenda. This agenda concerns all, and so they're increasingly feeling engaged and also need to chip in, if we can say. So it's a key actor to help decentralized cooperation go even further. Civil society organizations play a crucial role. As we all know, they help promote solidarity. They are also very closely connected to the territories, to the citizens, sometimes in remote areas where local governments are having difficulties gaining the trust of citizens. NGOs are there providing concrete support. So that's also something that we cannot neglect. And then lastly, academia was, as I mentioned, really sharing crucial knowledge, data. Increasingly now, the 2030 agenda is already 6 years old. So there's 6 years worth of data being analyzed that we need to really tap into, and that we probably don't do enough on our own ends. So really need to use that. It's also a key means to enter and connect with youth and with a different group of citizens, exchanging with students, with academia, to help really also foster change from the bottom up and foster behavioral change for long-term effects. So these are it's just an overview of the mapping of all the stakeholders. And I'm sorry if I was a little long, but as you can see, each one plays a crucial role, and no stakeholder should be left aside. But it's up to us to see also now how to make them best cooperate together in projects